NFL free agency is here. We're going to look at the top movers in the last 24 hours, the dynasty trades to make, what we should be doing, how to time the market, and everything else. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're going deep on free agency. We're looking at dynasty trades. We do this all the time. We're looking at values for your rookie drafts too, helping you patch up those dynasty teams. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're starting off with a big name today. And we'll probably have big names every day for the next few days. Najee Harris, come on down. We signed with the Chargers. And this is a big spot. This is a money spot for a lot of running backs. They experienced a lot of injuries last year at the running back position. Najee Harris is coming in to help this team out. A big running back that can be a focal point in the backfield. That can be a focal point. Not signed for a long time. RB32 right now in the rankings. Probably going to go up a little bit in value. He's here for a short time, not a long time. He's just here for the Chargers to party with. That being said, we're getting a fair amount of opportunities per game with the Steelers, 18.3. 3 RB1 weeks. One was not during the fantasy season, unless you play that way. A lot of RB2 weeks. However, with the Chargers, this could buoy Najee Harris as they like to move the football. They like to use the running backs. You got Jim Harbaugh there. Opportunity share 27th among running backs. Carry 7th among running backs last year. 9th among running backs when it came to evading tackles. Yards created 12. Yards per carry, we were very low. One of the lowest among running backs when it's compared to starters. That being said, not the most efficient running back, but a running back here that was one of the tops in free agency. We were wondering where he was going to go. Now we're going to the Chargers. This is a good spot for him for fantasy when it comes to overall workload, opportunity, and hitting his potential upside, potential getting red zone looks and everything else. As Herbert and team, they can move the ball. They got Ladd McConkey firing at wide receiver. They can prevent him from seeing stacked boxes. There's some upside to be had here with Najee Harris. It's not for a long time. He doesn't have breakaway speed. There's a chance they draft another running back. And why I say that, because any team can get it. This is a deep running back class. And when I say draft a running back, 7th, 6th, 5th round, that'll do it for competition in a backfield. Just about any team in the National Football League. That's how deep this class is. That's how talented this running back class is. We're looking at the running backs last year. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Kamani Vidal. Dobbins was good last year on his revenge tour, but still on top of that, ran 4.6 yards per carry, got injured, has a massive injury history. We bring in Najee Harris here, who also has a little bit of an injury history, but still, he's going to be getting a lot of the work. He's going to be getting the opportunity. They do like to use two running backs. Kamani Vidal was there. He's explosive. I would not be surprised, honestly, if any team drafts a running back in this year's draft, but if they do, later rounds, more than likely, middle rounds to late, and there's going to be talent there that could get some opportunity and give you some long-term upside into 2026, 2027. Adjacent values here, he's in the gamble range of players, honestly. We got some older players, guys who are on pivotal points of their career, guys who are experiencing injuries. That being said, I think his value is going to be going up for a short bit due to him potentially being a cash cow for teams who are looking to make a playoff push, because that could happen. He's going to be getting a lot of touches, a lot of work, and a team that can move the football and get in the red zone. That's where he fits. That's where he fits. I would not be surprised if he racks up fantasy points this year. I would not be surprised if he's up and down too. Najee Harris, though, for the long term, I'm not buying it. I don't think he's going to be a long-term asset for Dynasty Fantasy Football. I think the value is going to go up. If you're not in it to win it, if you can look at me dead in the eye right now and say, I don't know if I'm going to win my league right now in February, I think it's going to be up in the air, you might want to cash out. If you can look at me in the eye right now and say, hey, I got a good chance of winning money this year, then you may want to stay in. It's about winning money. Where are you going to be at to win that money? What can get you to win that money now? If you're built to win now on the money, then get the money. Get the money. Javonte Williams going to the Dallas Cowboys. This is kind of under the radar, but going to the Dallas Cowboys really frees up the Cowboys from being pressed to make a huge move. Javonte Williams, good vision, good getting yards after contact, good balance, can really be the guy in this backfield. and also not a guy that's going to prevent them from drafting a running back in the middle rounds. I believe they should get a running back in this draft still. I look for his value to go up in fantasy football as people project him as a starter or potential starter or a guy getting touches in his backfield. No matter what this team looks like, everybody wants the Cowboys running back. Javonte Williams could be in line for a good workload here. Could be in line for okay fantasy production and good workload with this team. If Dak Prescott's back, they're trying to retool the offensive line. They're trying to make some signings. They're trying to patch it together. Javonte Williams is a good veteran to have back there. If they draft another running back, there will be competition. Long-term wise, we're almost 25 years old. We got size to us. I don't expect him to be relevant in Dynasty for much longer. I expect other running backs to usurp him. I expect him to be okay in the short term. I expect him to gain steam through training camp, and people will start to latch on more to Javonte Williams. Let the dust settle a little bit. Let the draft happen. They're drafting a running back. There's too many good running backs. If they pass on a running back in this draft, this is really an inept franchise, because you can get one in the 5th round and get a good 3rd and 4th round talent. You can definitely do that. They're at liberty to do that. There's some players in this draft, first couple rounds, that can really help them in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Can really help them. Javonte Williams could prevent them from spending a lot of draft capital on a running back. Javonte Williams might be in line for opportunity. If you see a bounce up in value during the start of the season, and you're good at running back, and like I said earlier, you can look me in the eye and say, hey, I'm not 100% sure I'm winning money, might be the indicator to flip. Whenever a chart does this or goes down that way, it is time to kick the tires, see what comes back at you. And if nothing comes back at you, you just roll with it. When you look at him versus the running backs in the National Football League, in all categories, middling running back. Opportunity share last year, 36th among running backs, shared the backfield. Evaded tackles, 40th among running backs. Routes ran, 21st. We are using the passing game a little bit, but not 100% effective, not a receiving threat. Yards created, 29th among running backs. Yards created per touch, 19th. We're just a ho-hum running back. We're a patch-up job back there. Rico Dowdle's gone. Over 1,000 yards last year, 4.6 yards per carry. Javonte Williams is trying to match that there. He's a very talented runner. He's got good vision. A power back who can also run around you a little bit. Javonte Williams is a cheap fit for this team. When I look at value here, I look for it to go up. It really depends on the NFL draft. I expect this team to draft a running back still. I expect them to get another running back. There's just too many good running backs in this class. And again, if they don't, then they're inept. It could be like an Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon might be a faller, and he might fall enough to where they draft him. Maybe a running back like that. Maybe even a Devin Neal. Could be a running back. I think Dylan Sampson will be too rich for their blood in the draft. He's valued at RB52 here for a keep trade cut, but I think he's going to be drafted a little bit higher than what they're expecting. When I think about this team, I do not see him not pulling a trigger on a running back. I expect Williams' value to go up during training camp. When we get to training camp clips, people speculating on him. And then if you want to cash out, that's a good time. You might be able to now, if you catch some buzz, kick the tires, just see what comes back at you. Joshua Palmer, wide receiver 81, going to the Buffalo Bills here. Has showed some production off and on throughout his career. Has had some injuries, but a wide receiver that might fit well here with the Buffalo Bills. 15% target share last year. Ladd McConkey caught fire. Quentin Johnson was getting some work. 8 out of 15.2. We can get it downfield. This is another Gabe Davis-esque asset for the Bills. Not comparison, but esque asset as in downfield play that we can see Josh Allen YOLO balls happening. 74.1 route participation rate. Air yards are okay at 66 per game as he was only running how many routes? 24.3 routes per game. That being said, in this offense, you might catch another like Mac Hollins effect where it's a little bit more stable of him getting targets downfield. Khalil Shakur is probably going to be the man right now in the offense. And Keon Coleman's developing. We got to see how that goes this offseason and in training camp. This is a team to watch when it comes to their wide receiver depth chart. They might draft another wide receiver, but this is not a deep wide receiver class. Josh Palmer is a cheap patch-up job for this team. Fits with what Josh Allen wants to do. And if he's on the field running routes, this could be a wide receiver that has some splash games. I look for him, if he can carve out a role, to be a volatile play. He's a trusty vet. He can be a volatile play. The danger zone for him is Keon Coleman stepping up, Khalil Shakur continuing getting a 23+% target share, and they add to this team, which could happen. But we're looking at how he's being valued right now in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He's free. He's an afterthought. That's probably going to be no more. I look for him to jump like 10 spots when it comes to ADP, rankings, and everything else, because we got the Bills' privilege when it comes to value. Joshua Palmer, though, A.wise, fits this team. Kenny Pickett going to the Browns. That's ugly. The Browns got fleeced on this deal. I do not know why they did this. They could just have any jabroni quarterback out there and just probably yield the same results. Kenny Pickett for 2 QB leagues. God bless you. That's probably about all I can say. I don't look for much out of this. Kind of worried about Jerry Jeudy's shares with the quarterback play here. He does like to push it downfield a little bit, going back to 2022, his last true full season with 13 games. He does like to push it downfield a little bit. That's one thing we can say. This team does like to get vertical with their wide receivers. We saw that in the back nine of the season once Deshaun Watson was fully out with the J-Mo effect back there. That being said, Kenny Pickett, we get this. There's a good chance they draft a quarterback. This could be their bridge during the start of the season here in 2025. And back in the season next year, that quarterback comes in. Probably Shedeur Sanders. Maybe Cam Ward if they're lucky. Probably one of those two. That's what this tells me, that they got their bridge quarterback. This is what they want to bridge with, and they're drafting one of those quarterbacks. If I'm wrong, then Kenny Pickett all year long. And the Browns are going to suck and get a top quarterback next year. That's what that's saying. Kenny Pickett's not picked up to be the starter. And if he is, that's crazy. That's crazy. And that's amazingly crazy. His value's going to go up a little bit, but not enough. We got to see what happens in the draft. Maybe you want to speculate on that just so you can get some sort of quarterback points. But that's it. That's it. Daniel Jones going to the Colts. People are talking that up today. And the Colts are good at wide receiver. They got a lot of talent there. You got Josh Downs and company. You got A.D. Mitchell stretching the field. You got Alec Pierce. You got Michael Pittman. They might add a tight end in this class. Everybody's pegging Tyler Warren to go there. Of course, you got Jonathan Taylor. There's a lot of weapons here. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. You look at the numbers here. This is back in 2022. Remember, 2023, we had the ACL injury. Last year, we're coming back from that. 2022, ho-hum quarterback, but okay in some numbers. Accuracy rating, true completion percentage, true passer rating, top 10 there. QBR top 10. However, ho-hum in a lot of categories as well. Maybe we get back to that. Maybe we're coming back from an injury and we need to get back to that. Maybe not. Maybe not. We do have some weapons here with the Colts where we got some options. We got a good running back. We got some good wide receivers. Maybe we get Tyler Warren or another tight end in the draft. Maybe that helps the Colts out. Maybe. But what about Anthony Richardson? You think I left him for dead? The Colts might be. The Colts might be. We have not been healthy. We haven't been on the field. We have not been a great passer. When I think about Anthony Richardson, think of him along this regard. Would you rather have him or DJ Lagway from Florida, the 5-star quarterback that's starting to blow up? He's hurt right now in spring ball. I don't know if you know that or not, but not bad. Still working in camp. But still, him versus DJ Lagway. I don't think he can start for Florida. I don't think he can start. You put him on Florida, I don't think he can start. I think he'd be watching. You put him on some college teams, he's not an instant starter. That's the thing about that. I look at him versus some of the freshmen coming in. Would you rather have him or Keelan Russell? You're like, he's unproven. Keelan Russell can spray the ball all over the yard. You're looking at him versus Bryce Underwood. About as athletic. Can spray the ball all over the yard. More pass attempts the last few years. Spray the ball all over the yard. Over 40 touchdowns in a season during the high school level. Has Anthony Richardson ever thrown for over 40 touchdowns in a season? I'm talking about high school players. But who can talk about high school players and know their game pretty well? Husan Longstreet. He's got an arm, We just saw him toss it for almost 80 yards at the Polynesian Bowl. We saw that. You think he's going to start over some of these freshmen who put them in on the Colts? You think that's going to happen? That'd be a battle. That'd be a battle. Him versus freshman quarterbacks. Think about him in those regards. Some of these college teams, he's not a starter. It's not. It's not happening. Look at these numbers and tell me that he'd be a starter over some of these college quarterbacks. Look at it in those regards. I'd take Shedeur Sanders over him. I'd take Cam Ward over him. I'd take all those quarterbacks. He'd be like QB3-ish in this draft. He's highly athletic. He's a good quarterback in those regards for fantasy football. I love that. I love him in fantasy. But his days are numbered. His days are numbered unless we bounce back up or get to normal. But his days are numbered. Looking at some of these stats here. True passer rating. 40th among quarterbacks. QBR 26th. That's not good. That's not good when you're not healthy. True completion percentage. 40th. 53.2%. Accuracy rating. 29th among quarterbacks. You're like, he needs to develop. He needs more time. This is not the league for that. You got to develop on your own. You got to get better on your own. This is not the league for that. You just can't just wave your wand and say, we're just going to let this player develop. Teams don't do that. You usually get a couple years, and that's it. We're moving on. That's what's happening. And there were rumors that he was on the trade block. It's probably fake, but still, there were rumors for that. Anthony Richardson, great for fantasy when on the field. Daniel Jones, I'm not going to say he's going to take his job, but if he ends up with the job, Anthony Richardson might not get it back this time. Because if we continue with this, we might not get it back. However, he's free, QB 26. He can get you quarterback production right now. Writing's on the wall. Eventually, that's not going to happen. It's not going to bounce back up unless we have a drastic change. Unless we really amp things up. 9th among quarterbacks in danger plays. We missed games. Still top 10 in that in danger plays. Think about in those regards. Anthony Richardson. He is a wild card for the long term. What do you think about him? But those are the players impacted in free agency here recently. We'll have more videos out, of course. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.